Hello everyone. Today we'll study the concluding part of sorting materials into groups. The topics that we will cover today are the properties of the materials related to solubility in water. We will study density as well as flotation. We will study conductivity, malleability, and ductility. Now before we begin to study a new topic, let's recap on what we have already studied. Now we have already studied that objects around us are made up of a large variety of materials. A given material could be used to make a large number of objects. It is also possible that an object could be made of a single material or of different types of material. Different types of material have different property. We have already studied the three properties: appearance, hardness, and transparency. Coming to appearance, some materials are shiny in appearance and they are called as lustrous material as they have shine or luster. Others do not have shine and they are called as non-lustrous material. Based on the hardness, materials that can be compressed are called as soft material and the ones that cannot be compressed are called as hard materials. We had also learned texture. The materials that are smooth without bumps and ridges, and the rough materials are the ones which are not smooth and they have bumps and ridges. We also learned transparency. Some materials such as glass are transparent and some others such as wood and metal are opaque. Translucent materials like wax paper helps us to see partially through it. I hope you can recollect what we have learned. Now let's move on to the next topic. Today we'll study about solubility of solids in water. Now, once I say solubility, what does solubility mean? It is an ability of a given substance, that is the solute, to dissolve in unit volume of solvent. Now you must be wondering that what is a solute? The substance that dissolves in a liquid is called as a solute. I'll give you an example. If you mix salt in water, what is salt? Salt is the substance that you are mixing in water or dissolving in water. So that substance that dissolves in a liquid is called as the solute. When I gave you the example of salt and water, salt is the solute. So what is the solvent? You mixed salt and water. Salt was the solute and the liquid in which the solute dissolves is called as the solvent. So what was water? Water was the solvent. I hope it's clear. Okay, now when we are studying the solubility of solids in water, we use two terms. If the solute or if the substance completely dissolves in water, then it is called as a soluble substance. Now here you need to remember that when the solute is a solid, we use the term soluble. Similarly, if that substance does not dissolve completely in water, then it is called as an insoluble substance. Again, a reminder that when we are using the term soluble and insoluble, the solute has to be in a solid form. So I gave you an example that salt mixes with water. So what do you call it? That salt is soluble in water. Another example of insoluble substance would be sand. When you mix sand in water, you keep on stirring it, but it will not mix in water. So what do you understand? That sand is insoluble in water. Just because salt and sand both are solids, we use the term soluble and insoluble. Is it clear? Fine. Then what term do we use when the solute and the solvent both are liquid? I mean that if you mix a liquid with another liquid, okay, and if it mixes together completely, then it is called as a miscible liquid. Can you think of an example? Honey, when you mix it with water, it dissolves completely in water. So honey is miscible in water. Now why you are using the term miscible? Because both honey and water are liquids. Similarly, the opposite, immiscible. Liquids that do not mix in water completely are called as immiscible liquids. Can you give an example? Any type of oil or kerosene is immiscible in water. Again, you need to remember that kerosene and water both are liquids, hence we use the term immiscible. I hope solubility of solids as well as solubility of liquids is absolutely clear. Moving on to the next topic, density. Now to understand density, let's imagine that we are doing an experiment. I give you a bucket of water. In that bucket of water, I tell you to put 3 things. One is a feather, second an iron nail, and third a small wooden block. Which of these things will float and which of it will sink and why? I'm sure everybody will tell me that the feather will float, the iron nail will sink, and the small wooden block will float. Now, what would be the reason? An obvious answer would be that heavier things sink whereas lighter objects float. But a wooden block may be bigger and heavier than the iron nail. Still, it floats. So what decides whether an object will float or sink in water? The answer is density. So, what is density? The density of a substance is defined as the mass per unit volume. The density of water is 1 gram per centimeter cube. So, if any substance has the density less than 1 gram centimeter per cube, it will float, else it will sink. The substance with lower density than water will float. In example, straw floats on water as its density is lower than the density of water. A substance like iron, the density is more than water and hence it will sink in water. So, it is not the weight of the substance, but it is the density of the substance that decides whether something will float on the liquid or it will sink in the liquid. Now, coming to the physical properties of the material. The first one is conductivity. Now, to understand conductivity, we need to understand 2 definitions. First is conductors. What are conductors? The materials that can conduct heat and electricity through them are called as conductors. It means that the materials through which electricity can pass or heat can be absorbed easily are called as conductors. Metals are generally good conductors of heat and electricity. Therefore, cooking vessels are made of conductors or metals. Now, usually, the handles of cooking vessels are made from wood or bakelite material. Why is it so? So that it allows you to hold the hot vessel without burning your hands. These materials are called as insulators. Why? Because bakelite and wood do not allow heat and electricity to pass through them. They do not conduct heat and electricity, and these materials are called as insulators. I hope it's clear. The next property which we'll study is malleability. Now, what is malleability? Malleability is the property that allows the material to be hammered into thin sheets. We all know that we get aluminium foils, we get silver foils, we also get gold thin sheets. And these thin sheets are prepared by hammering them. Okay, so the metals that allows it to be hammered into thin sheets, that property is called as malleability. The next property is ductility. Metals are ductile. They can be drawn into thin wires. This property of the metal to be drawn into thin wires is called as ductility. Gold and silver are the best examples of ductile metals. So here we come to the end of the chapter where we have understood what is sorting, why is it useful, and all the different properties of the materials and why they are used for a specific purpose. I hope the chapter is clear. Kindly follow the notes and the question and answers which are given to you and learn them. Thank you.